The sun oxygen system that you can see here in the back was developed to increase the oxygen levels in the pond through circulation. It is constructed in a simple manner so that it can easily be built by anyone with little instruction. A small pump attached to the end of a PVC pipe that runs on solar energy can move up to 38 cubic meters of water per hour. By mixing the pond water, the oxygen produced by algae is evenly distributed in the pond. Although the SOS only runs during the day, it can increase the fish survivability. This following chapter will take you through constructing, installing, but also maintaining your SOS. In the description you can find a construction manual, and also make sure to check out the list of tools that you need to construct your own SOS.
Frame construction.
This is a guide on how to construct your own sun oxygen system. The frame will need to hold the weight of the solar panel and will also carry the weight of the pipe, pump, and electronics. So it will need to be sturdy. Also, the environment is quite aggressive for the metal, so make sure your material is waterproof and rust resistant. We're using galvanized steel for the frame, and we apply primer on the welded joints and some of our less rust-resistant parts. Your frame size should be comparable to the size of your solar panel. Our frame measurements are 1.9 meter by 0.9 meter, and we are using 20 by 20 millimeter of galvanized steel. In the middle of the frame there is a smaller frame. This is to give the frame more strength and to provide a mounting point for the pipe and electronics. On this frame, the inner frame is 16 centimeters wide. This is adapted to the size of the pipe. The size and weight of the solar panel will affect the number and size of the hinges, nuts and bolts that you need to mount the solar panel safely to the frame. Measure and mark the holes so they are placed evenly along the frame. It is helpful to mark the position of the hinges and holes for the frame and solar panel at the same time to reduce measurement errors. A standing drill would be preferred so the holes can be straighter and more exact, but any drill will work. Start with a smaller drill bit, then gradually increase the size. Drill the holes according to the number of hinges you will be using. Another 2 holes need to be drilled into the smaller frame, which will be used later on to mount the PVC pipe that holds the motor to the frame. To attach the PVC pipe, we simply use a metal rod. We're using M6 nuts and bolts. However, you can use what is locally available, ideally rust-free products. Now you can put the solar panel on top of the frame and mark the places for the holes to attach the panel. It is important to be careful with the small drill pieces. They can snap easily. Also be sure to wear eye protection because the metal pieces can be dangerous. Now you can connect the solar panel to the frame by screwing on the hinges. Four barrels, one on each corner of the steel frame, can be used to keep the solar afloat in the middle of the pond and reduce the risk of it being stolen. We use 10-liter barrels to keep our frame and panel afloat. They are tied securely with a rope to the frame. A thick wire can also be used to attach the barrels. It is important to find high-quality barrels that can handle the sun and that the barrels were not used for containing highly toxic liquids. This could be dangerous for the fish even in small doses.
Pipe preparation.
Our pipe has an inside diameter of 15 centimeters and an outside diameter of 16 centimeters. We cut our piece to around 1 meter of length. We're using a string for the measurements because it is easier on a round pipe. The outlet of the pipe has to be larger than the cross-section of the pipe. Also make sure the most of the outflow windows are below the surface of the water.
Depending on the material available, the size of the pipe can be different. However, in order to place the motor into the pipe, the diameter of the pipe needs to be at least 14 centimeters.
We're using an angle grinder to cut the outflow holes. If you have a circular saw, it might be easier to cut more exactly. Safety is important. Use protective eyewear and a mask.
Preparing the electronics.
To prepare the box, make sure your Tupperware is sturdy and has a good lid. Drill 2 holes in one side and 1 in the other. This is for the cables connecting to the solar panel and the pump. Drill the holes carefully and slowly so the plastic does not break. The grommets are to ensure that no water gets in through the holes. Initially, you will need to prepare the MC4 plugs. These connect the solar panel to the pump through the electronics box. It is important to note which cable is incoming power. Either it should be the red cable, or if you only have black cables, mark it with a tape.
Find the list of the components in the description. Please note that only qualified persons should be working with electricity and safety precautions need to be taken.
When connecting the solar panel to the step-down module, the black cable should go into the in plus slot, the red cable or the marked cable should go into the in minus slot. Connecting the step-down to the speed controller, the red cable should be in the out plus slot and the black cable in the out minus slot. However, depending on the components, the polarity can be different, thus it is important to adjust it to the equipment.
Please find the construction manual in the video description. There you can get the detailed manual that explains all the modifications of the electronical parts step by step.
Now you are ready to connect the pump to the speed controller. Pay attention to connect the same colored cables to each other.
Connecting the pump.
To attach the motor to the PVC pipe, we simply use 4 zip ties. This requires drilling 8 holes into the pipe located in the center. Again, start with the smaller drill bit and gradually increase the size. Then, thread the zip ties through the pump's casing. Finally, place the motor into the pipe and attach it by putting the zip ties through the holes and closing them. Now all parts are prepared so that you can set up the SOS and test if everything is working. Connect the cables and check if the motor is running. If everything's working fine, attach the box to the frame with the zip tie and mount the PVC pipe to the inner frame by placing the metal rod through the holes.
Installation and maintenance.
Once you have completely set up the SOS, you will be ready to install it into the pond. Put the SOS on its side and at the very edge of the pond. Hold onto the rope to avoid that the SOS tips over. Carefully use your foot to push the solar panel into the water while holding onto the rope. The SOS can either be turned on before lowering it into the water or to avoid possible damage to the pump later when it's already placed in the pond. First, connect the cables. Second, check if the SOS is running, which will be visible if there is movement on the water surface above the pump. Be mindful that it is only running when there is enough sunlight. In case the SOS isn't showing any signs of function, wait until the sun is visible. Securing the SOS in your pond is important. There are a couple ways to do it. Here we are using 2 stakes that are connected to the SOS by a rope. An additional method could also be a heavy rock or concrete blocks. To remove the SOS, pull on the rope until it's lifting out of the water. Always be careful that depending on the position, the solar panel could tilt, fall, and get damaged. When the SOS is positioned just right under the edge of the pond, lift it up by holding onto the solar panel and move it onto the land. If the water doesn't move at all, the SOS probably is not functioning. Carefully take it out of the pond and try to register if any sound is coming from the motor. Check for visible problems before dismounting any parts. Then, before getting into the electronics, always think of disconnecting the solar panel from the motor. Are there any burnt parts? Does everything look normal? If necessary, exchange the electronical modules, or if necessary, exchange the motor. To maintain your SOS regularly, clean the surface of the solar panel, because especially if the environment is dry, a layer of dust can cover the panel. Regularly clean it off with a water and a brush or a cloth.
The system is based on what was available in Cambodia. It can be individually adapted to what is available in your country. Important is that the solar panel and the pump can function together. If you have a different design, talk to an experienced electrician beforehand to find out if the components do work together. Always be careful when working with electricity and make sure that safety precautions are taken when constructing the sun oxygen system.